I'm Nicolle and I love art. To me, art is everything. Ever since I was a child. Art is philosophy. Art is painting. Art is making mud balls. Art is cooking. Art is learning how to love unconditionally. To me, everything was art. As a matter of fact, it was one of the only times you can get me to sit still was when I was doing art. So I love to move, I need to move. Since then, I've learned the beauty and the benefit of being still. Even in your stillness, you're still moving. There's the energy moving within you, the breath moving within you. It's been such a blessing to me, I cannot help but share it. I cannot help but overcoming my fears just to share it, because I don't think it's coming from me, I think it's coming through me. And when something comes through you, there's only so many times you can say no before it just has to happen. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about me and my life with yoga and my life with art. I'm going to have some demonstrations and I'm going to need some volunteers to help me with that. But before I do, you have these clipboards that Miss Lisa and others have so kindly passed out with 2 index cards. One index card has a business card stapled to it, just in case you want to call me and say hi, ask any questions. And the second one is blank. What I'm going to share with you today and focus on today: create your freedom. What else does this say?
Allow your flow.
Allow your flow. Create your freedom and allow your flow. What I have hidden for you here is your first assignment, if you dare. Now, I planned on being hands-free, but I'm not. So we're going to make this work. The big reveal. Your first question. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Your first question, if you will. Right now, what is the thing weighing on your heart? Just one challenge. You don't have to write a novel. This is only an index card. What's challenging you? And the second thing, what do you feel blessed by right now? What do you feel appreciative of? And the third thing is, how do you feel? Now, some people use that word feeling as an emotion. But you could be going on a first date or a first interview and have butterflies in your stomach. Your heart pounds a little bit more. Or you could have just eaten something bad and your heart's pounding and you have some butterflies in your stomach. It depends on what words you use to identify these sensations. So whatever thought or physical sensation or emotion you might label, try to use one word to describe it at this moment. We're going to have a little group demonstration, but I'm really hoping for a few, 3, 4, 5 people who might want to do a little bit of art with me. Is there anybody who might be willing? Thank you. All right, so in a few moments, I'm going to ask you to come up on stage. And over here, that is not revealed, is the painting that I worked on this afternoon. And over here is the painting that I'm going to have you go ahead and work with on your own. And what's going to happen is you're going to do your own representation of this painting, your own colors, over here. And I'm going to continue to address everybody and share some of my stories.
Just
So Peggy, when you're ready, I'm going to put a timer on for 3 minutes. While Peggy's creating her art, we're going to talk a little bit. Thank you. I'm going to make sure you're all set up. There's some water. And here's the paint. And here's a palette in case you want to look at those. And there's some paper towels underneath. When I was young, I wasn't much shorter than I am now. I grew a little bit more, maybe filled out. But like I said earlier, when I was young, there was only a few ways that you can get me to sit still, and art was one of them. What I realized then, and that I let people's own beliefs and otherwise rule my world for a couple of decades, what I knew then was that it was my way of connecting. It was my way of giving myself safe space and a reprieve to have freedom, to allow all of the information to come through. My artistic expression, my ideas, my problem solving. And biologically, it actually allows you to go more from that sympathetic nervous system, where your blood goes out to your muscles so that you can run from the dinosaurs, into a little bit more of a parasympathetic nervous system, where your body heals, your hormones balance. And that was my outlet. That was my way to communicate with spirit. So when I was younger, I would do my art with any medium I wanted. And at one point, a very loving, very powerful figure in my life told me these words that just burned an impression into my mind. You're talented, your art is nice, but you gotta do something that makes money. Off I went to college. I love science. Science is another art. Mathematics is another art. And I thought that I would combine science and art, biomedical illustration, in multimedia. It didn't quite work out that way. Again, I listened to other people, and yet I learned in the last 10 years that even so, it's my responsibility. And if I hadn't learned that, I wouldn't be able to be here on this stage sharing this with you right now. So even though it was a challenge, it was also a blessing. I went to college and I took art, and I didn't understand the politics of it. When you're in an art school, you can only do one kind of art. So I started out in graphic design, because they said that's what I wanted to do. But I knew what I wanted to do. I listened to the people who I thought knew better, and I didn't like graphic design because the people didn't like me. So I ended up going ahead and focusing in photography. Is there anyone else who would like to come up and take the place of Peggy? Little people, big people, doesn't matter. No, nobody?
Okay.
All right, I'll give it a few
No,
minutes.
Barbara.
Oh, goodness,
Barbara's
thank you, thank you.
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Wonderful, we'll get you started.
Oh, right now? Or
Yeah.
wait till she's finished.
You're gonna take over, right?
Yep,
Are we supposed to
It's a
look at
group
the
effort.
painting or not?
yeah, your
Oh.
representation of this painting, your colors. Mhm. Thank you, thank you.
Who's coming up? Come on up.
Miss Babs.
Thank you.
So I switched over to photography. And after a period of time, the people who were supposed to guide me and direct me guided me in different directions that took my money away but didn't really point me in the right direction that I wanted to go. So I rebelled and I went to Italy to study abroad so that I could take any art class that I wanted. I learned there about printmaking. I love printmaking. And I had an art teacher who was a famous painter at the time. And he looked at me one day and he said, Nicolle, you're a Renaissance artist. And honestly, it's just been in the last 3 years that I understood that I'm a Renaissance healer and a Renaissance artist, because for so long people kept telling me, focus on one thing, Nicolle. Just one thing, and then you'll get it going. It was always, be afraid of that. Don't try something new. Don't go somewhere new. And focus on one thing. After I started realizing that what I was doing was having a single subject, but I was finding a way to draw in different healing therapies and different art modalities to create it, and I accepted myself with that, all of a sudden, I started reading books, noticing in the newspaper, and following other people who had been doing the same thing. So it was okay, I was okay. There's something I'm supposed to express. So Renaissance artist. And the other thing that he told me one day was, Nicolle, you're really talented, but you're not putting yourself in your work. I mean, as a singer, it's who you are. Your spirit comes through it. Your music comes through it. Your art comes through it. I ran to the bathroom and I bawled my eyes out because he was right. Because I had this internal struggle that I was even allowed to do art. And that why should I spend this time when it wasn't making money? And that wasn't worth it, so therefore I wasn't worth it. It hit me kind of hard. And by the time I graduated college, I gave up my art. Luckily, I found another art, which was my healing. And after college, I went to massage school after I got my bachelor's degree. It was something I had wanted to do. And in massage school, I was introduced to yoga. And I was an athlete, but I couldn't touch my toes. And I was a little bit ADD and flighty. It was hard to focus sometimes, except when I was doing art. One time in the beginning of college, I was sitting at the kitchen table well into the wee hours of the morning, and I was drawing a life-size self-portrait of myself out of a little tiny mirror. Somehow, I ended up drawing with both hands. And then by 2 o'clock in the morning, I was staring down at my own face. I lost all track of time. But also because of that losing track of time, and I need to be on time, I abandoned my art when I graduated. So here I learned yoga. But yoga isn't just about bending like a pretzel. And I have so many people who tell me they're not flexible. That's why you want to do yoga? I can't focus to meditate. That's why you want to practice? So I was very blessed to learn yoga for many reasons. I really feel it saved my life in many ways. We're going to do a little demo together, a little breathing together. I'm going to do a little chair yoga with you because there's a yoga for everybody and a yoga for every body at any point in time. I ended up focusing more on therapeutic and restorative yoga, even though I really like to move, and I used to bodybuild just a little bit, and I'd run and climb trees and dig in the dirt. I learned that I needed that balance, and it was phenomenal. So there's a yoga for everybody and every body, and it balances you. It helps to balance your brain with your emotions, with your thoughts, your body. So we'll do a little bit of that together today. Is there anybody who else would like to come up? If I can have at least one more person, anybody, to come up and do a little painting for me. If you don't want to be on camera, we can just turn it to the side and I'll stay over here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Come on up. Miss Babs?
Yes.
Someone else's
Oh,
turn.
good.
So the painting is right over here, hidden from everybody else for now.
Maybe I'll go sit down.
Any colors you want to use, any way you want to use it. There's some water right over here. There's paper towels right underneath.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Oh, thank you.
This is a,
Oh, looks gorgeous.
wow.
The other thing that happened to me after college, after I started working at the college and on the weekends going full-time or part-time to massage school and learning yoga as well, was I found out that I had a tumor in my head. That was an eye-opener. What do I do? It was one of the few times in my life that I had insurance. After I had the surgery, which was between your inner ear and your brain, it's a tumor that luckily is normally benign, but it never stops growing. And they found it a little early, even though I don't have that much space in there. It grows on your balance, your hearing, your facial nerve area. And they ended up having to sever my balance nerve on the left side in order to get it out. I had some complications with the medicine, took me a little while to get out, so all of those muscles that I had faded away. And when I had to come back to the hospital a few weeks later to get my stitches out, we found out that my spinal fluid was leaking out my nose. But when I woke up from the surgery the first time, I had facial paralysis. My eye was open, I had to wear a patch with goop. I was dribbling out of the side of my mouth. I was deaf, totally deaf in my left ear, still am. And I had vertigo because they cut my balance nerve. The second time I came back, I realized I'm not gonna die, nobody's gonna help me, I'm gonna help myself. So I'd sleep as best I could, then I'd sit up as best I could, drink some water, hobble, slide, crawl to the bathroom, see what happened, hobble, slide, crawl back to the bed until I got out. They never gave me any assistance, any physical therapy. But yoga helped me to walk again. If I wasn't doing my yoga, I'd be walking off the stage to the left. I still can get a little dizzy. If I wasn't doing some of my yoga, I wouldn't have been able to run again, bike again, do a triathlon. That was big in general. I still get disoriented at the water, but I understand if I keep working it, and if I trust where I am in space because of yoga, because I have this sensation of where my feet are, even if the rest of me is spinning. And because I've worked with balancing the two sides of my body, and whenever you bring your hands together and you cross the two sides of your body, you're helping the connections for the two sides of your brain to work better. I didn't know it until years later, but the speech problem that I have, it's called aphasia. It's like dyslexia for your speaking. One side of your brain does one thing and the other side does the other. So one side of my brain knows the word that I'm talking about. And yeah, in Chinese medicine they say you have blood deficiency, qi deficiency. If you forget, you go into a room, you forget. But it's another thing when you know, you can visualize it. You know what you're talking about, but you can't make your mouth articulate it and you can't say it. So being up here is a pretty big deal. I had to learn to laugh at myself. I had to learn to chill out. I lost a little bit of my memory. I lost a little bit of my words. I was a jock artist nerd. So I had the big thick glasses and I had the tape in between, but my glasses were black and the tape was, yellow. And I had a thesaurus and a pencil in my back pocket. And that was me. Yoga helped save my life. Yoga helped me to focus. The yoga breathing helped me with my anxiety and my depression, hormonal imbalances, and head injuries. I'd had a concussion before I ended up with a tumor, so I got knocked around a little bit. There's people who tell me they can't touch their toes. If you really want to, you can. If I wasn't working on it to be able to touch my toes right now, I'd be back where I was. There was days that I would sit on the edge of my bed, lean over, and I didn't know if I was going to, excuse me, but I didn't know if I was going to puke or pass out because of the pain from the restriction, from all the injuries along my spine, the fascia, and from all of the scar tissue. Yoga helps keep me out of pain. It helps me to focus. It helps me to sleep. And I just want to share a little bit with you today. All right. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Are you ready? You can sit back down. You want to do a little more? Yeah. It's addictive. It's addictive. Would everybody like to try a little bit of yoga with me? You raise your hand if you're in. I have another question. Who likes to breathe? All right, me too. Give me a moment to get set up. Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you hear the you guys? I'm an Italian vegetarian from New Jersey. I used to have the big hair and those things on my shins. I look 3 inches taller from behind. But I don't like tomato. I love tomato sauce, but I can't have, chunky tomatoes. I don't know what it is. I'm going to invite you to find yourself in a comfortable seated position. If you can, move a little bit more to the front of your chair so that your feet can be as flat as possible on the earth and your spine as erect as possible, if you can, so that we can allow the energy to move up from the base of your spine all the way up through the crown of your head. And just some simple breaths before we get into anything. If you can breathe through your nostrils, I'm going to invite you to breathe through your nostrils. If you cannot this evening, go ahead and keep your lips soft but closer together so that you restrict the airflow coming in. I'm going to ask you in your mind's eye to envision the base of your spine, your tailbone, your sitter bones. And as you inhale, imagine that your spine is a straw, and you're drawing the breath up the straw all the way to the crown of your head. You're going to hold it for a moment, and then as you exhale, just relax. And on your next inhale again, draw the energy up from the base of your spine, through your low back, between your shoulder blades, along your neck, and all the way up to the crown of your head. Hold it for a moment, and then let it go. And let's do that one more time for 3 times. As you're ready, inhale deeply all the way up. Imagine each space along your spine to the crown of your head, and then relax. I'm going to invite you to bring your awareness to the soles of your feet and to your hips and your butt, and feel that pressure between the soles of your feet and the earth or the inside of your shoes, and feel that pressure between your sitter bones and your butt muscles and the chair beneath you. Just breathing. You may notice the air moving through your nostrils is cooler as you inhale and warmer as you exhale. As you inhale, you warm and cleanse the breath. And as you exhale, you learn to control the breath a little bit more. There's a style of breathing called alternate nostril breathing. At any one time during the day, one nostril or the other is more dominant. One nostril and the other helps to, again, balance the two sides of the brain. One is more active and one is more sedative. So I'm going to invite you with your dominant hands to bring in all of your fingers except for your thumb and your pinky. And I'm going to do this a little from the side. With the pad of your fingers, gently close off the left nostril. And then release it and gently close off the right nostril. And then release it. We're going to begin with a normal inhale together. And exhale. Close your left nostril. Inhale through your right nostril. Close your right nostril and exhale left. Inhale left. Close left and exhale right. Inhale right. Close right and exhale left. Inhale left. Close left and exhale right. Inhale right. Close right and exhale left. Inhale left. Release your fingers and exhale through both. Does anyone feel a little icy hot in their nostrils? Did you notice if you did have a nostril that was slightly swollen, it may have opened up even just with that? It might not be enough for you to feel a change in your body unless you're really sensitive. I happen to be highly sensitive as well. This is a wonderful breathing technique to do first thing in the morning, in the middle of the afternoon, after you've eaten, and when you're kind of frazzled, your mind is overwhelmed. To help balance your brain, bring your clarity, and just by breathing, you're massaging these nerves along the sides of your ribs that go up into your brain to get you past that fight, flight, or freeze and allow you to make better decisions. Allow you to see from a broader perspective instead of right up close. The second one we're going to do, actually even I think it's Dr. Weil, he teaches this for blood pressure, and he says it's better than medicine. We're going to inhale and exhale through the nostrils if you can. We're going to inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 6. And what that means is I count to 4 and then you inhale real quickly. I exhale, or I say exhale to 6, and you exhale to 4, and then you hold your breath until I say 6. We're going to inhale fully and with a little bit of force to get a full inhale for the count of 4. And we're going to take our time and exhale more slowly for a count of 6. So let's just take a nice inhale together and exhale. Inhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And breathe normal. Can I see a show of hands for anybody who feels a little more chillaxed after that? Just a little bit of breathing. Profound. Natural. You can take it with you anywhere. The kids, grandkids, significant other is driving you nuts, you can go into the bathroom and breathe. If you're on an airplane, you can breathe. It's free and you can do it anywhere. And if somebody catches you doing it, maybe you can get them to breathe along with you. Especially if they're not so chillaxed, and it's a nice thing to help them chillax. I'm going to invite you to do a little bit of chair yoga with me, the best you can. When I do this, I can work with props. I can help people if they want to challenge themselves a little bit more. But we're just going to start with some easy things. How many people, can I see a show of hands, like to creak and crack when they get up in the morning? Crinklies and cracklies. So if I were to label myself, I have a little bit of degeneration in my neck. And I can turn my head to the left and turn my head to the right. And I swear even you can hear the. But if I drink enough water and I do my yoga, I can do all kinds of things without so much as a crinkly and a crackly. And it feels better. I can hear better, and I don't get that residual pain that's going on. Causes little bits of headache that dull you out. So I'm going to invite you to just start by rotating your wrists and then change the direction. Lubricating your joints. We get the least amount of blood flow through our tendons and ligaments. And this helps it to move through. Now I'm going to invite you to bring your hands in a prayer-like position. Crossing the two sides of the body communicates the two sides of the brain. This is really nice to do when you bring the soles of your feet together. They might know each other for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years and never really get to hook up too much. So it's a nice reunion. There's also acupressure and reflexology points that you're stimulating. Let's see if you can tap together for me just your pointer fingers. And if the other fingers wiggle, just have a giggle. And then let's see if you can tap together just your middle fingers. Are you still breathing? And then let's tap together just our ring fingers. And check to make sure you're not squeezing your glutes or squeezing your teeth together. Separate your jaw. And then let's go ahead and tap just our pinkies. And then we're going to pause for a moment. I remember before I became a yoga instructor, because I felt I had to, and I was petrified to be in front of an audience, to have people look at me, but I had to share this with them. Before I actually became a teacher, I was lying down on the floor in Savasana, counting the ceiling tiles, and the teacher saying, relax this, and relax that. And I'm thinking in my mind, well, I'd freaking relax it if I knew how to relax it. No, that's not being very yogic, Nicolle, you gotta relax. And then I'd start counting the ceiling tiles, no. And then I'm like, no, you shouldn't be yelling at yourself, you should be relaxed, you should be happy with yourself, it's okay, nothing's wrong. And that day, when she asked me to relax my forehead relaxed. So I like to say, imagine it's happening, and eventually it will. Just imagine it's happening, and eventually it will. My forehead relaxed, and it was like I had Novocaine. I didn't want to move again because I didn't know I'd be able to relax it again. So it just depends on what you put your focus on and what you practice. I'm going to invite you to tap your pinky finger and your pointer finger. And breathe. And if you're not relaxing, I'm going to invite you to tense the place that is already tense just a tiny bit more, and then let it go and begin to train the body what it means to relax. And if it's not responding, touch it and let the brain know this is where I want you to relax. I'm going to invite you to tap your thumb and your ring finger. Is it working? Wonderful. And then just shake them out. Release any tension. Inhale your shoulders forward, up to your earlobes, back and down. Inhaling forward and back and down. And one more time, forward and back and down. Just this simple stretch, go ahead and continue, is going to release the tension in the front of the body from reaching down in front of us all the time. And it's going to squeeze the shoulder blades behind you in the back body, placing them more back in the middle of the body where they belong and not on the sides of your body. It's going to move through your ribs. It's going to release some of the tension in the top of the shoulders and the crease of the shoulder and the neck just by doing this. And when you breathe, you're massaging all of your organs above and below. Can I see a show of hands? Have you ever felt, for whatever reason, that crunch right in your stomach that you couldn't seem to release? Like if you can't be your authentic self in front of somebody else, or you're really nervous about doing something and it just crunches and you don't know how to release it? Well, you can do the breathing and you can let your body know it's safe. And it will start to unfold and release for you. And you can start retraining your cells. That was another reason why this saved my life. With my anxiety and depression, if you want to label it. So I want to thank you for doing this with me so far. I'm going to invite you now to stick your right leg out, pull your right leg in, put your right leg out, and twist your ankle all about. Twist it both directions. Point and flex. Write your name in the air. And then let's go ahead to the other side. Put your left leg out. Put your left leg in. Put your left leg out and twirl it all about. Both directions. Point and flex. And then go ahead and write your name. Beautiful. I'm going to invite you, if you can, it doesn't have to come up that far, but bring your right knee into your chest. Squeeze your right thigh into your right hip. In yoga, when we're laying down, we call this wind removing pose. It's really good for babies too. Wind removing pose. And then go ahead and release. And let's bring the left knee in. And then go ahead and release. And then we're going to stick our right foot in front of us just a little bit and bend forward like we're picking something up. And then slowly slide back up. Pretend you're on a roller coaster. Inhale your arms up in the air. Good. Exhale them down. And we're going to take our left leg forward, forward bend. And then slowly sit back up. And we're on the roller coaster again. Woo. And exhale the arms back down. And now, if you can, you're going to cross the right foot over the left ankle, or if you can really get it up there, cross the right foot over the left knee. This might be enough of a stretch right here. If you can, you're going to reach forward like you're going to pick a pencil up off the floor, stretch out your hip, and then slowly come back up. And then we're going to switch to the other side, either over the ankle or over the knee. Good. And then reach forward, and then come back up. Very nice. Now this one's nice to do from the side of the chair, but I'm going to show you from the front since we're all facing to the front. You're going to use your right hand, and I'm going opposite you instead of mirroring you. Your right hand's on that side. You're going to use your right hand and grab the edge of the chair, and take your left hand and bring it up either behind your ear or up beside your ear. Keep pushing your butt into the chair, your sit bones into the chair, and reach up to the ceiling and over. Up to the ceiling and over. So we're stretching out the love handles and strengthening the love handles. And if you can go further than that, breathe into your left armpit, your left hip. And then as you exhale, paint the ceiling, paint your neighbor, and paint the floor the most beautiful, delicious, delectable color. And then we're going to take our left hand to the chair. So your left hand's going to be on this side. And we're going to take our right arm and bring it all the way up, reaching up and over, up and over, as far as is comfortable. Make sure you're both your butt cheeks, Asher, on the chair, up and over. And then go ahead and slowly paint the ceiling, reaching out, paint your neighbor, and paint the floor. How do you feel so far? We're going to do one more move. I'm going to invite you to place your hands on your thighs above your kneecaps, sitting up nice and tall. And I'm going to turn sideways so you can see where I'm going. We're going to do something called cat-cow, moving through our spine. So as you exhale, go ahead and let your body round by imagining somebody's pulling your ribs back. Let your armpits air out. And then as you inhale, come forward and imagine you're expressing your heart up to the heavens. Exhale and round back. And as far as you go is perfect. Wherever you're at is absolutely delightful. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, coming back. Inhale, coming forward. We're going to pause forward. Exhale while we hold forward. Now we inhale as we round back. And exhale as we come forward. And inhale as we come back. And exhale as we come forward. And go ahead and slowly release. So that night when I was drawing in my kitchen, that reflection of myself, I was so focused on what I'm doing that my body breathed for me. It was a rhythm. It was full breath. I wasn't restricting it. I wasn't guiding it. And when I incorporate my breathing into my movements, it breathes my movements. It gives me more space. It gives me more focus. So just the breathing that I learned from yoga has been immense. And I'm very grateful to be able to share that with you guys today. If you'd like to stand with me, it's up to you. I'm going to show you the breath of joy. Because maybe we took it down a little bit too much. We want to raise it up just a little bit for a little bit. In this posture, we're going to be bringing the arms up and forward. We're going to open our arms for the greatest, biggest hug. And then we're going to throw confetti into the air. And then if it's all right on your body, you're going to bow. Thank you very much. And it's a 3-part inhale. Imagine that your nose is like one of those little rabbits. We're going to inhale. That's one inhale. Exhale. Now how do you feel?
Like I want to keep doing it.
You feel silly? You feel like you have a little more energy moving through? Maybe some vibration? You can go ahead and sit down. So yoga has saved my life, and art is my way to communicate. I had said that at some point, thank you. I had said that at some point I gave up my art. I had gone and studied acupuncture, oriental medicine. I'd recovered for the most part from my surgery. I got married. I got unmarried. I went back to school for my master's acupuncture, oriental medicine. I went and I got my yoga license to be able to go ahead and teach. Some other things in life like that. I used acupuncture to get my son, which was a blessing. 4.5 years before I gave up, and then he came. So that's a long time, all that stuff happening. And finally, I started doing my art again. And there's someone here that actually supported me on my recovery coming back to my expression of art, who actually paid me for some of my art for an amazing event that I got to share simply by doing the art for it. And that let me start to open up a little bit more. With my art, I was like one of those people who could not walk out the door, their front door, because they were so afraid and they were homebound. I would want to do my art, and it was painful to try to do it because it needed to make money. It needed to be worth it. And was I even worth that? But when I looked back, I noticed I had built walls. I built a 9-foot painting to cover a window so that people wouldn't see my clients getting naked when we were getting ready for massage. I cooked new foods, did a mural on my son's room. So when I look back, I realized I didn't stop. I just made it painful for myself. I restricted that connectivity and that communication. So I'm going to invite you to bring up your cards again. And I'd like you to look at them. Between your challenge and your appreciation, which one do you feel more strongly about now? How do you feel now? And during this presentation, was there a time when you totally forgot about the challenges that you had? So what I'm talking about is create your freedom and allow your flow. Create your freedom and allow your flow. There's a couple classes that I would love to share with you guys. And if you're interested on that second card, if you write your name, whatever contact information is okay with you to share with me, so that I can give you some information about the classes that we might do here with Jessie. We can figure out what times you might be interested. We'll work on the price, the cost, and how that's going to work. I'd like to do a mindful expressions class where we come and we do artwork. Where I go ahead and get you started so you don't feel like you're all alone. But all together, we work as individuals, creating coherence and a symphony. Learning how to just let go. For no reason other than to create, to give yourself that safe space, to allow yourself to heal, to allow all of your creative juices for anything else in your life. Looking at something at a different perspective, solution to a problem, whatever it may be, to go ahead and allow your flow and create So the first class is mindful expressions. And the other class is, it's an acu, yoga, and self-massage class. So it's using acupressure and yoga to give your body space to move, to practice breathing, wherever you're at in your body right now. And then we'll do some self-massage at the end for a little TLC, tender loving care. If you're interested, that's my little plug, that's all I have about it. You write it on that second card, and if somebody's willing to go along with a basket and grab that up. But I need my little cue card, because I got a little,
It's here.
no, that's not the one.
Other two cards.
All right, well, I lost it there for a minute. I'm gonna make it up. I'm gonna invite you to really consider, instead of painting by numbers the rest of your life. So this was an original, but if they had made it look exactly like that, that would have been painting by numbers, just following along, or being an authentic original. Thanks.